Wait, you've never been to UK?
No.
Fuck.
Yeah.
That'd be so funny.
Yeah.
I would love.
That'd be so funny.
I just love to watch you be like, what is this slop? What are you? You made this? Take it back.
It's another brown plate.
Too much brown. Yeah.
You think this is food?
I love your impression.
I can't do it. I can't do it. Because if I try to you, I'll sound like Markiplier.
Do it. Do an impression of me right now.
Do an impression of me right now.
Do an impression of me right now.
Do an impression of me. You're playing the board game wrong. You should kill yourself.
I'm going to do my impression of your impression of me.
We just keep going lower.
It's turning into a game of voice telephone. Okay, now do an impression of this voice.
Tell me why you hate mochi.
We're turning into a different...
I will castrate you if you don't like mochi.
It's getting lower and lower. It just sounds like subsonic.
I can't go as low as you.
It's like
It just gets picked up by submarines.
Yeah, damn it.
And now, you do you, I'll do my impression of you, and then you do my impression, you do your impression of me, of you.
Wait. See, I'm
Do your regular voice.
okay. So this is my regular
Okay,
voice.
this is my regular voice.
Or this is your impression of me.
I'm just going to go deeper.
I think you can go deeper than me. So I don't think I can top you.
Really? I think your voice could probably go deeper than mine.
No,
Really?
I don't know.
Good. Yeah, well.
Well, the real question is, which one of you can go higher?
Oh, I can't go high at all.
What's the highest voice you can do?
I suppose I guess. Oh, geez, I think something like this. Can you go up here? I think maybe I can.
Hey, that's pretty good.
That's really good.
It's hard because like certain times, I'll do. I'm sure you can sympathize with this when you're doing like voice acting, and they're like, "Can we go a little bit higher?" You're like, "No, we physically cannot go higher. This is we are reaching."
Can you get much higher?
No, because I remember we voiced for Honkai.
Yeah.
And I remember at the time, because we'd not gotten it through being talented voice actors. We'd gotten it because we were doing a YouTube promotion.
Because we're filthy
Yeah.
YouTubers. They're
just
crawled
playing
into
some-
the
But you
scene.
play characters in the
NPCs.
game, right?
Some
NPCs.
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 Oh, yeah,
we get killed.
sure.
So they'd basically just be like, "Oh, here we have 3 scrap characters. Here you go."
Yeah.
And then, yes, you do this one, you do this one, and then they, I did my voice, and they were like, actually, he's 21."
Okay.
I was like, well, I mean, I think this is not a me issue. This is a we did
issue.
anyway, but then so then I eventually got to a high enough place, but it was like I was like, yes, I think so. I was pushing it to the
So
limit.
your character was in their 20s. What did the voice sound like?
It's like, oh yes, sir, I really do want to.
Okay, yeah,
Like
yeah.
Connor's rendition of Oliver Twist.
Yeah, if I was like,
yeah.
please, sir, please, sir,
please,
but
sir.
like, and I kept getting higher and higher. I was like, can we go a little higher? I was like, no, we can't. But it was good fun though. I mean, I appreciate they even let us do anything.
Yeah.
It was good fun.
Yeah.
How was your acting experience for the first time? Was it your first time?
I've been in a bunch of stuff.
It was
before.
my
Oh,
first
okay,
time.
okay, yeah.
And it was great. I can only do one voice. That is my voice.
Sure.
You just don't know how to do other voices yet, but you can do other voices.
So
Let's do an acting workshop.
You got to start with
right now.
Just start by like impersonating stuff.
Well, I voiced like a few side characters on Mashal.
Okay, sure.
And Alex Lee really fucking he coached me like really well. And that's kind of when I realized, directors, they do a lot. And
Sure, yeah.
Because I'm pretty happy with the performance I did on Mashal, which was like just a few lines, but
And that was for the dub.
that's for the dub.
Yeah.
And I don't think I could have got that without Alex just being my hype man and just telling me exactly what I need to do. Because I think the hardest part was knowing, having to act,
Yeah.
but also having to hit the beats of like the voice flaps as well. There's
yeah.
like so many things to juggle around.
Dubbing is, especially for your first time.
It's tough.
It's tough, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
And also having like 5 different people like just looking at you when you're performing that. that was just a lot of pressure for me.
the judging stage.
Yeah. It was a fun experience, but I'm not really a voice actor. I think it's fun, but that's a lot of pressure. So,
Yeah.
I'd much rather be on the other side of things, just
I
the
see.
directing,
Side,
the
yeah.
production side of things.
Gotcha.
I mean, you've been doing more and more as
Your resume's crazy.
you're
I watched Blackberry.
Oh, what'd you think?
I loved it.
Were you jump scared when I appeared on screen?
No, I knew you were in it, so I was
okay.
waiting for you to appear, and I was like, oh wow, you you're just like, all right, I'm gonna turn up and be song one.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. Like, I think I originally
So this is a movie about the BlackBerry phones.
All right.
And it's a phenomenal movie. It's so good.
a great movie.
It's who's the main actor again? I forgot. His name.
It's Jay Baruchel and then Glenn Howerton.
Glenn
It's
Howerton from
Always Sunny.
Always Sunny.
They're the two leads in it.
It's so good.
It's a great movie. Like, and I do play like a part in it. What's funny is I went in to play that because he just asked me to do it.
Yeah.
And I kind of started like doing something a little different from me.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, I want it to be kind of like how you are. So the movie is very much like
It's just you.
extremely, even more, just less energy than this. Just like very serious, right?
Do you play like a software engineer? Or
Yeah, and
being
so,
poached from Google or something? Or,
Right.
Yeah.
and like my scene has Michael Ironside like yelling at me like you get to work or whatever, and I just like stoically like stare at him or whatever. But it was fun. Like it's it got like a crazy. Oh, there I am right there.
Oh,
it got like a crazy good Rotten Tomatoes score.
It's really, really good.
and it's a legit. It's really funny too.
Yeah, it's very good.
Matt Johnson, who directed it. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Nirvana, the band, The Show. You know what that is?
No.
You ever see? Anyway, he's really talented and really funny, and he's also he's in it as well. And it was just a great experience.
Yeah,
Just-
I watched it on a plane, and it was like start to finish, was very captivated. It
Yeah.
was genuinely a really good film. I
Yeah.
highly recommend
sure.
it.
Okay.
And it was also fun just seeing just the absolute shit show that was BlackBerry.
yeah.
Okay.
Um,
How was it? How was it acting on God of War Ragnarok? Did you have to like go in and was
did
that just
mocap
your
for that,
voice,
right?
or did you have to do mocap for
I
that
didn't
as
know
well?
for that. Yeah.
Oh shit! What was that like?
It was
If
good,
you're allowed to talk about it.
Yeah. Just
But you were a squirrel, right?
Yeah.
yeah. It was an interesting. I had to like mime his motions while watching them separately.
Right.
Like I was on stage, but watching them use a puppet.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
And that was an interesting experience for sure. And then live action and mocap are both like I'm very not nervous when it comes to VO.
Right.
Like I have no fear
Yeah.
when I go in because I've done it so much. But live action and mocap, I'm definitely nervous for sure. But I think what I do is I just super overly prep. Just
Right.
like I know my lines cold. Like I know it like back and forth, like front to back.
Right.
And then I've sort of realized, oh, not every actor does that.
Right.
Sometimes you're like, oh,
They just wing it sometimes.
They just
well, it's more so they're like, oh, someone didn't memorize all their lines. And it's like, okay, so if I just memorize my lines well enough where I'm like, all right, I'm good. I'm not going to fuck things up because I just don't want to fuck anything up.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest difference is line memorizing is.
Yeah.
That does seem like the most tedious part. I guess
Yeah.
if you didn't have too many lines, it's not so bad. But if you had a really dialogue-heavy thing, I imagine it'd be really
In
stressful.
this movie, there is a scene, I don't know if you remember, we're in the diner.
Yeah, I remember the dance
Where
scene.
I have to talk about all these technical terms.
Oh my
That
God.
one was a little bit challenging. I had to memorize like all these like things or whatever.
Right.
But
So one good
how
thing
long
about
is it?
voiceover.
that's true.
Yeah,
That's
you don't have to
true.
remember anything in voiceover.
Yeah. How long does it take you to typically memorize lines? Like
It depends on the scene. Like
Right.
I did Anime Crimes Division.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Crunchyroll live action.
Yeah,
shit.
and
Yeah,
I had
yeah.
a lot of dialogue. And,
Yeah.
and like my first scene was extreme. It's a huge monologue. I had to go over that over and over and over again in my head before shooting.
Yeah.
And that was my first time ever doing live action, so that was very scary. But it doesn't take. I think usually, maybe like depending on the scene, couple of like an hour or something, and then you just keep doing it.
Right.
You try to do it so often that it becomes almost second nature.
Right.
That's usually you don't want it to sound like you're reciting something.
Yeah.
So, usually on something like this, like BlackBerry. The night before I'm running the lines, and then when you're in your trailer, I'm also just running lines.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a big enough name to be like, I don't fucking care. I'll just walk in and not memorize my lines. Like, I'm
Not like a Marlon Brando. Where
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you know about that. Some actors like get fed their lines through an
Yeah.
earpiece or whatever. For me, I'm like, I just don't want to fuck anything up. I just want to do a good job. So I just am always running. Well, I'm sure like actors at this point who've done like 30, 50 movies, just like whatever. I'll just ask for line on set. But I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah,
you know, I want to.
Yeah, probably not good to start off.
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
Yeah, and for me, I feel like I'll never be that way. You know, that's the sort of mentality of like, I want to do a good job. I want to, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so, but yeah, it was cool. And I've been lucky that the stuff I have worked on has been like really nice people. Like, I did this, I did Anime Crimes Vision, and I did a very brief like appearance in a sitcom, and that was also fun. So I always enjoyed doing it, even though it is kind of intimidating. It's fun. It's a very different type of acting, which I enjoy.
Would you say you would like to get more into like the whole live action acting a little bit more?
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, I still will audition for stuff here and there. It's just a matter of if I get cast, right?
Right.
I think VO's been going quite well. Like
Yeah.
that,
You've been crushing it.
Yeah, but live action, I'm not really like a known entity in that space. So
Right.
yeah. But I do really like the energy of being on a set, and a lot of VO these days is very solitary.
Yeah.
Even cartoons now, it's you don't record with people very often. But pre-COVID, you used to do group records and stuff,
Right.
which was really fun. Post-COVID, I think the only one I've done, I'm on a show called Bat Wheels. And I got to actually record with Tom Kenny, if you know who Tom Kenny is, like SpongeBob and stuff like that. Because his character, Mike, he's like the henchman to my villain character.
Right.
And so that was like one of the very few.
That must have been sick.
Oh, that's great. One of the very few times post-COVID where I've gotten to work with another actor in the booth.
Oh, fuck yeah.
So I wish it was, and I hear it's coming back a bit, but the problem is, well, not problem, but since a lot of cartoons have a lot of celebrities now in the cast, because they're so busy, you like you can't schedule like or whatever. So, but you know, it's when I do get the chance to work with other actors face to face, it is a rare but fun. It does add to the dynamic quite a bit.
Yeah. Did you have to take any acting classes for like kind of like live action roles as opposed to like voice acting roles?
I've never taken an acting class.
Oh shit.
I'm not trying to brag with that.
Just God-given talent.
No, I mean, my acting practice was maybe I talked about this last time, but I made a Tumblr back in the day.
Yeah,
Did I talk about this?
Yeah.
And I just drilled. I just was posting audio stuff.
I mean, all that
the
shit's
time.
practice, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
all of it
Practice.
helps.
practice, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's how a lot of people, I guess in our generation of like voice actors got into it. It was like just posting shit online.
Posting shit online.
Because most of the voice actors nowadays that are doing all the anime are the ones that were just posting shit on YouTube
posting shit online, fan dubs, comic dubs,
Yeah.
all that shit. Yeah, especially our generation.
Yeah.
Like a lot of our generation were fans of the stuff and got into it. You know.
I mean, it's weird to see how the industry has changed because I remember before there was talk where like, if you want to get in the industry, you can't do fan dubs because that will be...
Well, because I think for a long time it was like, they were just actors who were in a certain area who weren't doing any live action stuff. Who were like, I'll try voiceover.
Yeah. And now
It's changed a lot.
Just seeing the names doing it, a lot of people did seemingly get their start doing this kind of practice, doing this kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, I think the backlash against fandoms was people, the company just being protective of the
of
property
course.
or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of with you in that these days, practice is practice, right?
Yeah.
Like doing, there's a pretty notable casting director, Sarah Sherman. She does a lot of cartoon casting and directing, and she, I think, tweeted sometimes like people just a production will see like a person in a TikTok who's very talented and like go, we should get that person to do a voice, because and I'm not talking about people who are just getting cast because of virality. I'm talking about people who like they act in their videos, right? They act in their TikToks. They showcase they can play these different types of characters.
So they're passionate about it.
Yeah, and that to me is like, it's not any different than like when people see, like back in the day, people would see stuff at a stand-up show, like, that guy's really funny.
Yeah.
We should cast him in this cartoon. Or on a stage play, that person's really good. We should cast them. TikToks and YouTube and stuff, it's just a different form of it. I still think people do look down on it, which is baffling to me.
Yeah.
Because I think acting is acting. Like a good actor is a good actor. and I think some of it comes from some of the old guard might be like fucking YouTubers or whatever. But I think good acting is good acting.
Yeah,
I think your work speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Like if you are a little stiff or not that good, it'll show. But if you show that you're passionate about it and or trying to improve, or the work will speak for itself.
Yeah. Do you ever get like looked down on like criticism because you are like a YouTuber beforehand?
By like fans or by production?
Either one.
Or both.
Yeah.
I don't think fans. I don't really get that comment much.
Right.
I think because I think my work speaks for itself.
Yeah. It totally
I don't know if you
does.
guys have ever seen or played anything I'm in.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
we've literally played Grambly with you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
yeah.
That's right.
We played as
yeah.
your character.
Yeah. But
Well, I think I have seen it once or twice where maybe a YouTuber is getting into all the voiceover, and then there is a lot of pushback of like, hey,
Oh, it's just another YouTuber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
from the production side, I forget if I talked about this last time. I think there's only one time I was recast in something,
I think you did say about this where the guy.
but I don't think I said what it was, and I will continue to not say what.
Yeah.
it was.
That's
yeah,
fine.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. That's totally fine.
But that was like one time, and also that dub was shit anyway. But you guys will never know what I'm talking about. That was like the one time.
Yeah.
Right.
I think sometimes people have a preconception of like, well, actually, no, I think sometimes people just don't even know I do YouTube. I think they
Probably
find out
helps, yeah.
after.
Right. Okay.
Because
okay.
sometimes like they don't know who I am. I go into the booth and then afterwards I'll hear, oh, I didn't know you had like a YouTube channel or whatever.
Right.
So
Well,
I
think as well,
would prefer to
especially-
not be known.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
as well, like your resume in the actual voice acting and now acting world is just like piling up now. So
Yeah.
much so that like I think that's become the first thing that people see
Yeah,
anyway.
you've done insanely well.
Yeah.
It is something that I think there's definitely a shift. Yeah, I think as my YouTube presence dies, because it is, I'm definitely like slowly kind of just through the natural state of things, kind of stepping away from it. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
But voiceover is still going
Ramping
very
up.
strong.
Yeah.
So I think there is a, when people come up to me now, like let's say, oh, I'm a fan or whatever, it is kind of more leaning towards like, oh, I love like Delicious in Dungeon or
Yeah.
something, or I love this or that. I mean, there's still obviously plenty of people who still love the YouTube stuff or
Right.
whatever,
Yeah.
but it's usually people like, oh, I watched you like 10 years ago. I'm like, fuck, 10 years ago. I'm crumbling to dust in front of you.
God, I get that.
Yeah, it's like, I grew up watching you. I was a kid. I'm like,
Yeah, those are the worst where it's like, I was 11 years old when I started watching you.
Yeah.
I'm in college now.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
like,
Oh,
yeah.
been on for too long. But I mean, for your YouTube, it always felt like you just did whatever you wanted to do. You didn't
Yeah.
really care about the algorithm too much.
Right. And it's still been that way.
yeah,
Probably to its detriment, but
I mean, look,
Yeah.
you got something that's working. You don't need a man.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
yeah.
You could always come back to it if you were like, I want to become a YouTuber and do it, make it work. You know.
If I wanted to do that,
Yeah.
that'll never
What I'm saying is
never
that
see
like
that happening.
you have the ability if you were like,
yeah.
I'll just fucking do it.
it's an option if you
Yeah.
want to take it.
Basically, my YouTube is just like if I want to
Okay, this
post a
looks fun.
video,
Yeah.
that's probably really treat it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I know like nowadays the sort of landscape is really very different and very difficult.
Yes.
I can see it, like it's not just me, like a lot of people, I can see the views are going down and the retention is not there or whatever. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess I'm thankful that it was never my big priority
Yeah.
and that VO, like if VO wasn't going well, then I'd be pretty bummed.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think luckily it's been going quite well. So, and that's kind of my main focus. And honestly, it's because I've been doing that. I don't really have time to do YouTube
Yeah.
anymore.
Exactly. You still have to do like a lot of conventions as well. 'Cause
I
I know a lot of voice actors need to do the convention scene quite a lot.
I like doing them actually.
Okay.
So for me, it's not an obligation. I do quite it's been starting to pick up quite a bit. I think like pre-COVID, I was doing maybe 10 to 12 a year.
Right.
And then now it's starting to like, I think last year it started to really pick up again. So I've got like Yeah, probably like one a month or so. But I think,
Jesus.
yeah,
That sounds intense.
Oh,
it's intense. But I like traveling,
okay.
and I like hanging out with other guests.
Yeah.
And also, this sounds cheesy, but meeting the fans is great.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Like-
yeah, for sure.
Because when you're not, sometimes, especially in the state of the internet these days, you only focus on the negative comments,
course,
right?
yeah.
And you're like, oh, God, but then you like when you meet people face to face, and you're like,
That's very different.
it's like, wow, okay, yeah,
oh, yeah, people
there are
like
real
me.
people. Well, it's not even that; it's just there are real people out
Yeah.
there
Yeah,
that
yeah.
are connecting with this stuff. Like it's not just a wall of anonymous, just
Yeah.
We'd love to do conventions if they were closer, but we
Yeah.
have to get like a minimum 12-hour flight to get to
Ah,
them.
yeah.
And then it's like a whole different thing. So you're like, well, I'd rather just go on vacation if I'm traveling 12 hours.
Yeah.
you know, like-
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it was like US, it was like what, like maybe like what, 3-4 hour flights, 6 tops.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, at least I can do that in one day and still do stuff that day.
Right.
Not great stuff, but you still do stuff.
Yeah.
Especially if it's like a 3-hour flight, that'd be amazing. 'Cause you could leave like Sunday evening and be back. You're in bed Sunday night. That I would love that.
Yeah. Time zones can be a little annoying though, but other than that, it's not. I mean, not compared to what you guys have to deal with. Yeah.
That's why we haven't done many conventions. 'Cause
Yeah.
Yeah.
flights are expensive, and then
because it's always a massive commitment for us.
Yeah.
So what do you guys mainly just like Anime Expo?
Yeah,
Pretty
maybe
much.
just
Yeah.
Anime Expo.
Yeah.
and it's unfair to be, because obviously conventions. Hopefully, maybe some of them want us, but we're like, hey, look, it's far away,
Yeah.
it's expensive, it takes a lot of time, so it doesn't always line up as well.
Yeah.
What's
And,
feasible?
Since you have VO, as like YouTubers, like for me, if I go travel, it always takes me like a few days just to like readjust back into like the time zone, back
Yeah,
to my
yeah.
schedule, and that's
Yeah.
that was like a real killer
Yeah.
for me.
It's tough.
So even
Yeah.
if the convention is only for like a weekend, like realistically, it's like a week.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
I gotta pee. I've been holding it for so long.